Because I teach media studies, and that includes theater as well as film and TV, and I'm going to say visual media because that's kind of both television and film, anything that we watch on a screen. So that includes like YouTube videos. I think that has a really direct relation to the truth because we believe what we see. And there's actually a lot of theoretical basis behind why we believe images that we see. We also think that they're really important. Otherwise, why would we watch them? And so because of that, we get our frame of reality of what real life looks like based on visual images. For instance, I may never have been to New York City, but I have a perception of what that looks like based on what I saw. So that is the truth of what New York City is to me. And that's not real. That's a constructed one. Especially, for instance, you watched The Dark Knight Rises. Well, that's New York, but that's not really New York. That's Gotham in a movie. And so our perception of what we think is the truth is based off of visual media, and that visual media is not real. It's fake. The most unrealistic thing on television is reality TV. It is reality television is the only thing that could make anything Paris Hilton has to say interesting. All of it is framed, all of it is cut, all of it is edited, all of it is situationally made in order to get people to watch more. And so we're basing our reality on something that was made simply to entertain us in order to get us to watch more so that we would be exposed to more advertising. So that has told us what is the truth about our existence. And that's commercial media. And so that's not real. And I feel like this almost gospel imperative that people know that what they're watching on television is not real. And I say that as someone who feels like representations of where I live or my background are not correct because I'm a Christian from a small town in the Midwest. And those people don't appear, at least not in a positive light, in most media. And so, especially women. And so I feel very underrepresented in that regard. And so that what I know is the truth is not even there. That being said, I think that stories have the ability to tell truth in a really specific way, or in a really important way, is I guess what I'll say. And that's because stories have the opportunity to embody an idea, and most visual mediums, so television and film, they're pictures of ideas as much as they're not really pictures of real life, they're picture of an idea of something. And because of that, we can communicate a deeper truth about something. Picasso said, art is a lie that reveals a deeper truth. And Anthony DeMello said, the shortest distance between the human heart and the truth is a story. We understand things through stories. And so because of that, those of us who are in the business of discerning stories and telling stories, we're in the business of telling the truth. In many plays, in fact, my favorite plays and my favorite movies tell the truth in a really important way. They hold up a mirror to people, that's what another playwright said, and they tell people this is the way that things are. And now you have to live in response to that. And because of that, I think that stories have a power which is almost a holy power, because it's, our opportunity. Christ told stories, and the Bible is full of stories, and those stories impact us and they change us because they tell us who we are and who Christ is. And because of that, stories have a huge opportunity to help us discern what is real and what is not real about the truth of human existence. Well, I guess what I would say is this, that I'm not satisfied to live with a lie. The writer Thoreau said, he went through this whole, I'm going to the woods because he said, I want to live life deliberately. I want to affront the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what life had to teach, and not when I came to the end of my life discover that I had not lived. I think if we don't know the truth, we have settled for a lie, and that's not even a real life. That's a shadow of a life. And I think whenever we are confronted with truth is usually difficult. I mean, there is no truth that is more difficult than the truth of who Christ was, because it calls us to completely change who we are. But to not face that truth, I don't know how you get up in the morning. I don't know why you would want to. It's a life without integrity. It's a life without purpose.
Truth?
I'll share a couple of things. One is that I've had to respond to the truth of certain situations. And so there were things I did not want to be true. I did not want to believe that, for instance, I didn't want to believe that women really were second-class citizens, either in the United States or someplace like India. I didn't want to believe that someone would make a judgment about me just about that. I thought, well, some people might do that, but Not really. I mean, not really. I don't want to believe that people really are able to be so judgmental, but unfortunately they are, and that's because we live in a fallen world. I didn't want to believe that certain things about my family were true, because every family has little secrets about them, or maybe they're big, not secrets about them. And I would rather that was not the case. I would rather that it were a lot easier to just go, oh well, things are nobody really that doesn't really bother anybody. I have a brother who my eldest brother, his kids have gone through some really difficult situations, and not everyone in the family has faced the truth of what that is, and because of that, it's caused a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration, a lot of hurt. My other brother is gay, and that has had a huge impact on my family, obviously, because that is a truth that is a truth. This is his life, and we have to live in response to that. And as much as that is very difficult, it is usually those things which are extremely difficult, these deep, difficult truths, which draw us closer to who God is. Because I think they strip away our presuppositions of, well, this is just the way life is, and I can just go on doing things this way. And I think, this is what happened when Christ came to earth. He stripped away this pretense of, it's okay to do those things, the status quo is fine. And he said, no, you've got to give up everything. And you've got to you've got to feed the widows, and you've got to, and more than that, you have to feed people's souls. You can't live life on your own terms anymore. You have to live life in response to how best you can serve God by serving others. And that requires that we give up a lot of our own desires, and it requires that also we have to really question, and I really believe you really have to question what's true, because otherwise you won't know for sure whether or not it is. And you have, like everyone believes in something, and it would be nice if we could all just go, well, the Bible's true, we not even have to think about it twice. But I think the Bible has more integrity because we can question it, because God still is true, no matter how much we question. The Wesleyan Quadrilateral says that you consult Scripture, you consult reason, experience, and tradition. The first place I go is the Bible. And I don't think the Bible spells out exactly in black and white everything that we're supposed to do, and I think that is done on purpose. And I also try to go to wise teachers, and that includes, I read a lot of C.S. Lewis, because C in particular, I believe, grapples with truth in a really interesting way, and with situations which I see a lot of insight in him. But that goes back to, Aristotle, Aquinas, up into modern day Christian teachers, and it includes people who are my spiritual mentors, which includes my pastor, it includes people I work with, like Dr. Patton, like Mary Darling, like Wally Metz, and so I consult those people. I try to use the God-given faculties that God has given me, and at the same time, I have always left the escape clause that I could very well be in the wrong, but that doesn't mean that God is wrong. I consult things like the Nicene Creed, which is I believe in one God, one Father, and because of that, I find a lot of affirmation in those things. I find affirmation in these kind of things that are part of our Christian tradition, and these teachers who have said these kinds of truth. And they kind of go back to being moral center. It's biblically centered, and then out from it kind of branches, those things. I certainly pray. I certainly I ask for discernment, and I hope that the Spirit ministers to me by doing that. And I also pray that even if I'm not aware of it, that God will make plain the truth through me or to me. And so I certainly believe that happens through the Holy Spirit and through prayer as well. But I never assume that what I feel or what I feel about a certain situation, what you feel is what you feel. But how I feel about a certain situation, or my attitude towards a certain situation, or what I think is right, is this necessarily the truth. I believe that the truth is something outside of myself that God can reveal to me. And so not my own reasoning or my own approach to it, but there might be a larger truth that I can't see that God is working through. But the things that I know are the absolutes, are the things that are written down for us, that God has already said, these are the things which are trustworthy.